Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rebecca and I am a certified primal health coach, certified ketogenic nutrition specialist, and a nurse, but I'm not your nurse. So everything you hear here is for your informational purposes only. I am not a doctor and I cannot diagnose and treat. So I am also part of the Healing Humanity community and a PhD essential coach for Dr. Ken Berry. And I'm super happy to have my guest today because we have been scheduling and rescheduling this for ever. Since August, we have been trying to get this to happen. So without further ado, allow me to bring on Christian. Welcome, Christian. I'm so glad we were able to make this happen.
It was bound to happen eventually, so I'm glad to be on. Thank you. Thank you for being persistent.
Absolutely. So me and Christian have been Facebook friends for a while, and I cannot remember how we connected. And he says he can't either. But I'm super fascinated with his business, and so I wanted to bring him on. So Christian, tell us about who you are, how you got to keto, and your health journey, and then what made you decide Dad's Keto Kitchen?
Those are all great questions. I kind of fell upon keto by mistake, to be honest with you. I was raising my kids. A lot of people know the story. I was raising my kids by myself, working from a home office position. And the closest thing to my home office desk was my home office cabinet. And the cabinet, of course, had all the snacks and all the goodies I shouldn't have been getting into. And before I knew it, unfortunately, I put on a significant amount of weight. I got really comfortable. I used to be the gym guy, the sports guy, the active guy. But being in a work from home position, everything became sedentary. Suddenly I was sitting down for 8 to 10 hours a day and taking care of my kids and being in meetings and school events and things like that. I fell apart. I really did. Without even knowing it, I had fallen apart. I put on probably about 50, 55 pounds. They found arthritis in both of my toes, my lower back. My knees were junk at that point. I had just really let myself go. So it was frustrating. And when I took a sleep, I took a sleep test, and they determined that I had sleep apnea so badly that I would stop breathing 56 times per hour.
Wow.
Yeah. So every minute I would choke. Every minute. I had every mask you can imagine. I had the machine. I'd tear it off in the middle of the night. It was useless to me. I wasn't getting any benefits from it whatsoever. So I needed to make changes. I needed to show, first of all, I needed to make changes for me, but what kind of example was I for my kids if I was letting myself go like that?
That's good.
So I started making some positive changes just on a whim. Said, you know what, I'm going to stop eating things that I couldn't stop eating. In other words, mindless eating is what I call it. Things like Cheez-Its and Goldfish and popcorn and chips. Things that you just constantly feed your face with, if you will, and you don't stop. You're not
The ones
eating.
where you can't eat one. You just can't just eat one.
Exactly. So I immediately stopped. I pulled those out of my diet. I started feeling better, started dropping some weight. I started running a little bit. All of a sudden I was active again and feeling better. I said, okay, so what's the next step? What is eating all about? Eating is about taking care of your body, getting, the nutrients in your body for energy and everything else. Okay, what's the next step? The next step was taking things out that I would go back for seconds of. In other words, potatoes and starchy vegetables. I wasn't still hungry at all, but I would go back for seconds. And then I'd end up being bloated, uncomfortable. I'd regret my decision, but I just couldn't stop myself. So that was the next step. All of a sudden, my running went through the roof. I decided to run my first half marathon with a goal of under 2 hours. I came in at 154. So extremely proud of that. I had dropped the weight that I needed to drop. I've maintained, this was about 7 or 8 years ago, as a matter of fact, and I've maintained ever since. Yeah. So at that point, and being the info junkie that I am, I realized that I needed to find out exactly what was going on. There was something else going on. I felt extremely good. My energy was through the roof. I was sleeping better. My moods were better. Something was going on. And that's when I really started reading up on dropping carbs. And that's where I fell across keto. That's where keto came into my life. And ever since then, I've become a keto geek, if you will. So I've really kind of dived headlong into this to find out everything that I can possibly find out, initially for myself, but now for others, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yep. So as I was doing this, I always wanted to help people get healthy, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to be a personal trainer. I was at the gym, but they're a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. It
Mhm.
didn't seem to have the feel that I wanted. I wanted to help people get healthy, not just put muscles, but get healthy.
Yeah.
And I've always cooked for my kids.
Mhm.
And as a joke, we would post it on Facebook, whatever meal we made together. I would post it on Facebook that we made it at Dad's Kitchen and Bake Shop. Now, that could be a dinner, it could be muffins, it could be whatever we made at the time, but it was a joke at that time. I realized one day that there was an absolute need to help people get healthy, but people don't have time. They don't have their schedules are all over the place. If you have kids, you've got 4 schedules or 5 schedules to keep track of. So it was difficult for everybody to actually take the time to shop, prepare, cook, clean, and everything else. People just don't have that time anymore. So I
Yeah.
said, great, you know what? I know of other meal prep companies. Why don't I do this? So one day I woke up, texted my now fiance. I said, I'm doing this. She said, what? I said, oh, we haven't talked about this yet. And I
Oops.
said, well, I guess what? I said, guess what we're doing?
Today is the day.
Today is the day because I'm the chef on the meal side of things and she's the master baker. So she's
Nice.
incredible at what she does. Second to none, second to none. So brought her into the mix and just decided on a whim. Launched the website. I spent literally $31.47 for a pre-designed store website. And within a week or 10 days, we had $1,000 in orders. And it just took off from there.
Now, did you start off with a bakery only?
Great question. Within the first few weeks, it was just bakery only, but it wasn't the vision that I had. The vision I had was an entire lifestyle for people. I
Yeah.
wanted people to be able to wake up in the morning and be keto no matter what, whether they're waiting until 11 o'clock or noontime for their first meal or their first snack or whatever else. I wanted people to be completely prepared. I wanted them to have something at their reach that they could just reach out for and know that they were staying on track and that they didn't have to worry. So that's where the meal side came in. And right now it's 50-50 as far as the business goes. It's 50% meals, 50% bakery.
So I don't know, because I've followed your business for years.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start delivery service? Now, was that something that, like, at first people were just picking up and then you added the delivery service, or was that something that came in, or was that part of your business aspirations in the beginning too? Or was it like, oh, they can come get it, or
Mm-hmm.
I can give it to them? Like, how did that come about?
Good question. I didn't have a formal kitchen, so I
Mhm.
was renting a commercial kitchen out of a local church. Beautiful kitchen. Some
Nice.
churches have absolutely amazing commercial kitchen. They're all Board of Health approved, so they're monitored. They're safe. They're commercial.
Mhm.
For little money, a donation essentially, I was renting out a commercial kitchen out of a church. It was strictly delivery only, and we launched before COVID, where everything became delivery only. So the timing was perfect. The timing worked out perfect. Everything was delivery only. We didn't have a way for people to pick up because, again, we're in the basement of a church. So
Yeah.
it was strictly delivery only, and it took off from there. Now, after 3.5 years, I was offered a large commercial space on what's called Restaurant Row in Worcester. We've got
Mhm.
30 other restaurants that are on the street here, and
Mostly Italian, you said.
mostly Italian, and we're the only non-Italian quite restaurant on there. But we're offered a space. It's about 1,000 square foot kitchen now, where we've been for the last 2.5 years. And now because of that, we've got the storefront. So now we offer people the pickup option. I've got a 100 square foot walk-in, so I can store people's food. Now it's both delivery and pickup, so it's convenient either way.
It is nice. So tell me, so you already talked about your services.
Yeah.
How far out are you able to do this? Because my goal is to
Mhm.
show people that there is a need
Yes.
for this type of business. So whether it's a ketogenic bakery, whether people that are paleo or primal or
Mhm.
carnivore, there is a huge need for clean food and clean options for people who don't have the time to sit down and cook huge meals.
Mhm.
So, how far out are you going? Because I saw on your website, you've got pretty wide area, it seems.
Yeah, we actually cover 49 towns at this point, so it's most of central Massachusetts, which is a pretty large area.
Yeah, it
The
is.
only thing that limits us is we don't have the refrigerated vehicles, so we're dealing with a specific limited area that we can deliver to. That's the next step as we move into more of the major metro areas, the Boston, Providence, Rhode Island, those areas. We'll bring in more and better equipment. But at this point, we're up to 49 towns from our central location.
That
But
is
you're right there.
amazing.
There's an absolute need, not only for prepped foods, but for fresh prepped foods. Because there's some nationwide companies that are out there and they do
Yeah.
okay. But the common complaint about these services is that the food shows up, it's not still frozen, it's not still fresh, it's the quality isn't there. So people get frustrated. But when we deliver fresh, not frozen, they know that it was made within X amount of miles from their home. They're much more comfortable with it.
Yeah. So what's your best seller?
Comfort food. It really is because everybody's been raised on comfort food. Everybody's raised on pastas and casseroles and things like that. So
Mhm.
some of the best things that we do, there's a chicken artichoke spinach casserole that we just did this week. It's one of our top 5 meals. We also have a bacon cheeseburger casserole that we do. So on the comfort food,
That's nice.
yeah, that's our number one. That's our number one. But we've got we've done over 180 different recipes.
Well,
So
we
we
were looking at it and I was like, man, that's some good stuff. Tell them the story about the cannoli. And I know that most of my followers are
Mhm.
carnivore,
Yeah.
but I tell them about the cannoli because I love this. I love this.
One of my favorite stories. As I mentioned earlier, that we're on a street called Restaurant Row. Most of the restaurants on there, and keep in mind, we're not a restaurant at all, but we're going up against all of these restaurants at an event called the Taste of Shrewsbury. We're on Shrewsbury Street. So it was the Taste of Shrewsbury. And as a challenge, again, my fiance, the baker, said, you know what, watch this. So she developed a cannoli dip or the cannoli filling, and we served it as a dip with cinnamon crisps from Fox Hill Kitchens. So we served it as that. We came in out of 30 restaurants, Italian restaurants. Our cannoli dip scored us second place.
Second, it's not you're not even a restaurant.
We're not
Not
even a restaurant.
not even Italian.
Nope. So we ruffled a few feathers, if you will. Yeah, we the keto guy struck, and we had the longest lines of any restaurant on the street. We had lines of anywhere from 50 to 75 people on a regular basis for 4 solid hours. We ran out of food. We had to shut down.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely
It was an
amazing.
incredible event. It really was. We did the event again this year and we had again same lines, 50, 60, 70 people in line and waiting just to see what keto was all about. People are now starting to catch on. Now's the time to strike, as they say, with the iron's hot. Now is the time.
Yeah.
The studies are coming out, the valid studies are coming out that keto is not only just safe, but it's historical. It's been around for
For
millennia.
so long.
So yeah, it's been
Yeah.
around for millennia. Besides just the introduction formally as ketogenic diet for epilepsy, it's been around since time began.
Exactly. I had somebody from a previous job contact me. She was like, "Listen, we seem to be on the same wavelength about this." And she was like, "But what do you feel about how people think that keto is the appropriate way to eat?" And I'm like, "Well, um, you know my thoughts on evolution, but I was like, do you think that back in the day that they had that bread was easy to make?" It wasn't. What did they do? They foraged and they hunted.
Mhm.
And if you didn't forage or there was nothing to forage and you couldn't hunt, you
Mhm.
fasted.
Yep.
And then when you caught something, you feasted. So I'm like, this is a normal cycle that we should be in. And ketosis is a normal physiological process
Mhm.
that we should be cycling in and out of on a daily basis. As you eat and your insulin goes up a little bit, you're going to get kicked out. But then when you don't eat, it comes back in to fuel your body. And that's how it should be. So everything that is on our stocked shelves, 90% of what's in the grocery stores, has only been around for 125 years.
And
So
most of it's not even really food.
it's not really food. It's
No.
psychologically made, hyper palatable Franken food.
Well, that's what happens when you hire a neuroscientist to develop your food for addiction purposes only. Remember, Big Foods is now owned by Big Tobacco.
That blows my mind.
Yep. So when they started losing the addiction of people being, well, actually, when they started telling people the stories of, okay, yes, we are addictive. This is an addictive thing. It is dangerous for you. They started losing all the lawsuits. What they did is they said, we need to find a better business model. What else can we go into that we already know? And they went into Big Foods. They started swallowing up all the Big Foods companies. So all they did was move from one addiction over to another one. They didn't do anything different. Just one addiction right into the other.
There's a beautiful graphic, and I wish I would have known we were going to kind of go down this little rabbit hole, because I would have had it ready to pull up. But if you look at all of the Big Tobacco, and look at all of the little lines, it's the one where the graphic Big Tobacco, all the lines out of what they own, and it's all the big food companies. It's Nestle. It's names some big ones. Yeah, all of them.
It is. Anybody you can come up with that has a box or a package, that's who they are.
Nabisco. They're all owned by tobacco.
Yep. And as long as they hit that sweet spot of what is it? Is it sweet salt fat, which is the sweet spot? As long as you hit that, you're addicting people right away, and they're good at what they do. They're amazing at what they do.
Oh yeah, they're so good at their job. They're fantastic at their job. These neuroscientists that have done this.
Well, that's why 93% of U.S. adults right now are metabolically unhealthy.
It's pretty bad. Is it 93 now? I thought it was 88. Oh, now we're at 93. We've gone
93%. Yeah, it's something like 50% of U.S. adults are now either overweight or obese. Why? Because we're addicted. And look, I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm a snacker. I'm addicted. I am a sugar addict. I really am. Yeah. I'm a snacker. I know my issues. And if you put a box of Cheez-Its in front of me, guess what I'm going to do? I can't. I can't. So I keep those things away on purpose. And I've done it for 7 or 8 years at this point. But they know exactly what they're doing. So there's a need for somebody to come up and say, you know what, there's a better way. That's why our motto is actually because ingredients matter. Because
I love that.
So it's Dad's Keto Kitchen because ingredients matter. We're an ingredients first business. So we don't even talk about macros. We don't talk about any of that until we talk about ingredients first. We are 100% anti-inflammatory. We're seed oil free. We're gluten free, sugar free. We're diabetic friendly. We even recently went dye free because we know a lot of children and stuff were starting to eat our stuff. So we need to make sure that they weren't bouncing off the walls because of the red dyes and things like that. So in our opinion, my opinion, we are as healthy as you can get. Each one of our meals is designed for 10 or less carbs per meal, and our desserts are 5 or less net carbs per dessert. So you can have 2 meals and a dessert every single day and still be under your 30 net carbs per day and still be perfectly fine.
Yeah. I love this comment. Manufacturing foods allow them to get children addicted young and early to have customers for life. And
you know what infuriated me, and I apologize for interrupting, but this is something that I'm really passionate about.
No, go ahead.
Baby snacks and formula have sugar in them or maltodextrin in them. It infuriates me as a dad. I didn't know these things back then. And we're giving one of my daughter's formula on a regular basis. If I knew back then what I know now, I would never have allowed anything like that. But you're addicting kids as young as 6 months.
It's even earlier for women who cannot breastfeed or they don't make anything. They immediately are like, well, you got a formula feed. And if you look at our formulas are not the same that's over in the United Kingdom.
No. No, in fact, that's interesting you brought that up because we're right now we're dealing with a lot of we're going through a lot of genetic testing here in the family. Mm-hmm. And we found out that my fiance actually has the MTHFR genetic mutation. Well, if you do have that mutation, which they say 40% of people have,
Yeah.
you cannot digest or handle folic acid. Do you know in the United States, it is mandated that all formulas have folic acid? We now went to Germany. We just had a grandbaby. So yes, it's granddad. Now it's
It's
granddad.
granddad's kitchen.
Now granddad's kitchen, GPI, if you will. So we actually ordered 2 cases of formula from Germany.
Nice.
So that we could avoid the folic acid because it runs in your family. So even without testing our grandbaby, even without testing her, we know she's got to avoid folic acid. That's just one of the myriad of problems with baby foods and snacks and things like that. That's just one of the problems.
Well, yeah, it's pretty profound, and I don't know if you've seen the textbook by Tim Noakes called Ketogenic.
I'm reading, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So it's behind me, but in one of the pages I've got it marked because I have 2 autistic 17-year-olds, and I came across a quote, and it was like the majority of autism spectrum children were more likely to have not been breastfed.
Right.
They were formula fed. And it's like, huh. And then you go and you look at the form, and then it breaks down what's in the formula. It's made out of soy.
Correct.
Soybean oil.
Correct.
And that's genetically modified. And it's got corn syrup solids, which is genetically modified. And just all these things. And it doesn't have any of the good saturated fats that real breast milk has.
Right.
And it doesn't allow a child to get into ketosis. There's just not enough. The ratio is just completely wrong.
Right. And think of the amount of cholesterol that's actually in breast milk that you're not getting from formulas.
So the brain is not developing now.
Correct.
It's pretty astounding. So, and I am not saying that just because you bottle feed your child's going to be autistic.
No.
I think it's a whole bunch of confounding factors that come together for a perfect storm. But it's sad because if I would have known that, I would have gone to a milk bank.
Sure.
Instead of formula feeding my children.
Right.
Or found a wet nurse. I mean,
right.
I don't know why we don't have more of that in this country.
But as adults, people have been addicted since they were 6 or 7 months old. So now you're dealing with lifelong addictions. And food addiction is a real thing, and it's starting to be acknowledged more and more. But you're dealing with addictions that have started before you could even make a decision on what you're going to eat.
Yeah.
So what do you do 30, 40, 50 years later when you've been addicted your entire life? It's not easy. And that's why people like us here at Dad's Keto Kitchen and coaching and then all the new coaches that are coming up, that's why they're so needed, because they need the guidance. They need some hand holding. They need some reassurance. When they're slipping, they need somebody to turn to. Coaches are in a huge need right now. And that's why I'm thrilled to do what I do, because people turn to me on an everyday basis. I get messages, texts every day of the week. Hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? And the one thing I tell people to do, don't send me the nutrition panel because it lies. The nutrition panel lies. You can manipulate that, and they do. Send me the ingredients list. Then we can talk. Send me the ingredients list, and I'll tell you, is it safe? Because we're a strict keto business. So we, as I mentioned earlier, we go by ingredients first. And I want to make sure you're staying away from all the inflammatory ingredients. You mentioned soy. That's in so much right now.
Oh, it's in everything.
Yep. So I want to make sure that my customers and my clients and just my colleagues stay away from these things. Yeah. But there's a definite need, as far as getting the word out there, but offering guidance as well.
Yes. Well, I like how you kind of packaged your business to where it's not just your keto kitchen. You also sort of run your coaching business out of that. So how much do you work? Do you get time off?
We joke I work 9 days a week.
That's fair.
9 days a week. There aren't 9 days. We find the other 2 somewhere. I will tell you, I'm faster on my phone than a teen on TikTok, I say, because I want to make sure that I'm available for people. So my phone is with me at all times. I've got people that are shopping at grocery stores and they need to know, hey, this says keto. Is it safe? And I tell them 9 times out of 10, no.
Thank you for saying 9 times out of 10.
Yes. Because if it says keto on the package, unless it says Dad's ahead of it, and if it says keto on the package, chances are good it's just more processed garbage, because people like Duncan Hines, they're catching on.
Oh,
They've
yes, they are.
If you look at the way the grocery stores are structured, first of all, Duncan Hines is saying we're losing market share. What do we do? Well, you know what? This whole keto thing is happening. If you look, they've got packaged keto products now. It's still all garbage.
It's still
It's
all
still
garbage.
all terrible.
I have found one product that says keto on it that is clean. One.
Which one is that?
And that is New Trail granola.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes.
We carry the granola from both Lakanto and Kiss My Keto.
Okay.
Those are the ones that I stand firm on because they're strictly designed for keto. But if you're going into the mainstream grocery stores, you only have access to what you have access to. But if you can go online, I strongly recommend both companies.
Well, yeah, the New Trail, it's literally like coconut and pecans, and sometimes they'll have almonds in it, and maybe some sunflower seeds,
Yeah.
and then salt, and they use erythritol to sweeten.
Yeah.
You know, but other than that, there's really not much else in it. It's the only thing where I'm like, okay, this is real. I usually tell people stay away from, sorry, hit that. I usually tell people to stay away from keto labeled products. And then I'm like, except New Trail, because that's the only one that, you know, my son puts it in peanut butter.
I believe it.
He just like, and he just eats.
I
What's wrong with you?
I put it in Greek yogurt because I like the crunch. It adds, I'm a texture guy, so I like having the extra texture to the Greek yogurt because that can get boring after a while.
It can't, you know, I hadn't thought about that. I don't eat a whole lot of nuts because they are inflammatory to me. Yep. I'm not saying they're inflammatory to everybody, but I have learned that I have to limit them. I will say one ketogenic thing that I can't have in my house, I have to be careful with, is macadamia nuts. Because
they're dangerous because you can't. That again, going.
That's
back
another one is an addiction.
Yeah, and going back to the term I used, mindless eating. You want to be more mindful of your eating. You want to actually experience the food that you're taking in. Look at it, feel it, taste it. Imagine what it's going to taste when it goes in your mouth. Did it match? Take some time with your food. Really take a step back and say, what am I eating? What is this doing for my body? Feel it going down. Say, okay, you know what? This is the most amazing feeling. I'm nourishing my body. I'm feeling good about what I'm eating. And I'm actually taking the time to taste what I'm putting in my mouth. When you start into nuts and snacky snacks and things like that, you don't stop. You're not eating them. You're not tasting them. You're not experiencing them. So I'm really big into the whole mindful eating side of things.
Yes, very much so. And a lot of us in the carnivore side of the keto, you know, sector are very mindful about that. And a lot of people do very well with mindful eating. It can be hard. And there's a lot of people like carnivore is hard. People think that carnivore is so easy. And for some of us, it is after you've done an elimination diet and you feel like, well, this is where I have to land because, you know, this is where my joints don't hurt. And, you know, it doesn't feel like I've got a headache and brain fog every day.
Right.
I mean, so you can tell I'm not dogmatic. I'm a carnivore, but I'm like, if you can do keto, please do keto because you should, if you can, have fun with your food.
And to be 100% transparent, I'm ketovore. I really am. I'm more on the carnivore side of things. I'll eat steak every night of the week if I could. And I wasn't raised around vegetables. I was never given that experience. So as an adult, I had to introduce them myself. But going back to being texture, different vegetables have different textures. So I'm a little bit on that side of things. Broccoli to me it's little trees. It's weird. But
it is weird, isn't it? Do you know, I used to like broccoli, believe it or not. And then now I can't eat it. I'm like, why is that so bitter? And I'm like, because it's trying to kill me. Like Dr. Anthony Chafee, because it's trying to kill you. But like I eat zucchini. I do eat zucchini on occasion. I do like salads on occasion, which, you know, Dr. Berry calls crunchy water with glyphosate. So I try to get the organic, but still almost every vegetable has a little bit of glyphosate in it. So I like how you talk about your clean ingredients. So how are you finding your clean ingredients and sourcing them? Because that's one thing that people who do restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, I'm going to do this. Well, where am I going to get the stuff?
Yeah.
So how did you do that and pick that?
It's not easy. We do our own shopping. I don't go through Cisco and all the big food companies. I don't go through most of the restaurant type delivery systems. We
Okay.
actually search our ingredients out when we shop by ourselves. So if we're not happy with ingredients, we're not going to buy them. And we literally go out. We do our shopping on Sunday, back to the 9-day-a-week plan. We do our shopping on Sunday because we do all our prepping and cooking on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we go and we find the ingredients all by ourselves. And we're extremely picky on what we bring in. To me, it's worth that extra time. It's worth the extra effort
Okay.
to give people quality ingredients. And without the quality ingredients, what good am I?
Yeah, amazing. So your baked goods, I want to ask you a question. There's been some controversy around sweeteners.
Well, first of all, before you even ask the question, how badly is sugar taking a hit?
I don't know. How bad is
Sugar
it?
is taking a major hit right now because of all the studies that are coming out against it. People are realizing that it wasn't the fat that made them fat. It's not the cholesterol that made them sick.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually the sugar. And they call it carb toxicity. I just saw that term the other day. The overindulgence in carbs. Carb toxicity is one of my favorite terms right now because they do become toxic at a certain point to many people, not to everybody, but to many people. So right now, I look at a lot of these studies. They always say, before you trust a study, look at who funded it.
Exactly.
And a lot of these studies, unfortunately, have hidden funding. They don't openly acknowledge who funded it. But if you look at a lot of the guidelines and a lot of the boards of a lot of these companies, half of them are from pharmaceutical companies. Half of them are from big food companies. So they're all biased. They're all pushing an agenda. So the sweetener right now, I can point to you studies that say you shouldn't eat erythritol, you shouldn't touch monk fruit, you shouldn't touch stevia, and you shouldn't touch any of the other alternative natural sweeteners. They're not artificial; they're natural.
Yeah.
But I can also find you a study that says I've been sitting here for 45 minutes and that's not good for my health.
Yeah.
How much validity is there to a lot of these studies? Now, some of them may in fact be very valid, but my opinion is overindulgence in anything is not healthy. So we use all of those sweeteners. We use all of them.
Okay.
But if you eat 15 of our muffins, you've got a bigger concern than what sweetener we put in the muffin. We've got donuts, we've got cakes and cheesecakes, and I can go on and on and on what we have. If you eat an entire cheesecake, we need to have a conversation because clearly there's the addictive properties of any sweetener, no matter how you look at it. They're not as addictive like sugar, but they're still targeting the same receptors. They're still targeting the same receptors. Now you won't be addicted, but you're still getting the joy. You're still getting the euphoric feeling out of them. So to back up a little bit, the reason we do meals and bakery is we want everybody to feel like they're not being restricted. Once you feel like you're being restricted, you start to rebel. You start to go against it. But we're giving you meals. We're giving you snacks. We're giving you dessert. We're giving you all of those things. But one thing that we talk to every single one of our customers about is moderation. Everything in moderation. A lot of the studies, especially the ones on erythritol, say if each of these people had over 30 grams or whatever it was of erythritol in their system. That's a lot. When we use it, we back it off by half before we even do the recipe. Back it off by half, and then we drop it even more so until we match the sweetness profile of sugar. Because what our goal is to get you off of sugar, and the easiest way to do that is to find something that matches that sweetness profile. So that's how we do our baked goods, is it matches the sweetness profile of sugar. So we use them all, except for sugar.
Except for sugar. So I have a question. Like how do you feel about allulose? It's the newest superstar on the market. And and I follow, you probably do too, Dr. Ben Bickman, and listen to his stuff. And Nick Norowitz is always touting it and looking at the studies. Are you guys using it? How do you guys feel about it? Has it been a hit if you have?
Yes, we use it, but when you're dealing with baked goods, it adds a softness that sometimes is too soft. Now, bear in mind, allulose has a 0 glycemic index, a 0 calorie. There's 0 anything. Everything has a little bit of an insulin response, but they claim there's 0. So it's one of the healthier sweeteners out there. But we find on many occasions that unfortunately it's just too soft. So if you look at most of the sweeteners out there, they're starting to blend in allulose with whatever their normal sweetener is. You're starting to see a cross hatching of these two. So allulose to me is one of the best things out there. If we could find it in bulk, we probably use it more often. But again, a lot of our baked goods need to have some sort of texture and firmness to them. So we don't use that 100%.
I had not realized that does that it gives it a softness, that it is making a texture thing.
It is. It does.
That's interesting, because we use that in stevia. Those are the two that we use in this house. I'm getting ready to start using monk fruit. I've never used it. I know. I've been doing this since 2018. I should have started using monk fruit sometime. But a friend of mine has a chocolate recipe that I'm going to try out. And I don't know if you know Roxana soda beer.
Yes.
So she has a chocolate recipe that I'm going to try out. And she's one of my really great friends. She's awesome. And it uses monk fruit. And I was like, okay, well, here we go. This is a new one for me.
Yeah. There's some studies out there, just to go back to allulose, that even Thomas DeLauer was just talking about the other day. And the safety of allulose. It's one of the best things out there.
But the crazy thing is that they're finding out that it acts as a GLP-1. It's much lower level than like semaglutide, which is Ozempic.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that it has that effect.
Yeah, and I don't know the science behind it. I've just heard exactly the same thing that he was talking
Nick
about.
Norwitz has tried to explain it, and it goes like this.
Nick
I'm trying.
He's an amazing guy. He's tied into some local people here in Massachusetts. He's from Mass.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's from Mass. He went to Harvard. He's extremely well educated, super intelligent guy. And a lot of his studies that he's done are remarkable because it's working. He's showing the dangers of some of the pharmaceuticals. I'm sure you heard of his Oreo study.
Oh, the Oreo one, the egg one. I will not. We get Epic Times. My husband calls it Epoch Times. I guess I don't know who's right, but he's like, "Look, your boy's on the cover," and I was like, "My boy? Who are you talking about?" He's like, "Nick Norwitz."
Yep. Look at his
720 eggs.
Yep. And look at his story where he came from. He was dealing, I believe, with an autoimmune issue that he couldn't get under control, and he found
he was on palliative care.
Yes.
He was dying I remember listening to his story. He was dying at Oxford.
Yes.
And they called his mother in. And now look at him.
And it was the ketogenic diet that switched him around.
Yep.
It's amazing to see when you realize the true power of a ketogenic diet or lifestyle, whatever you want to refer it to. Once you start seeing what it does, once you start feeling, I mean, I can tell you, look, I'm 53 years old right now. I feel like I'm 30. I sleep well. My moods are better. Overall, everything is good. Do I slip? I do. I'm human. I'm just like everybody else. And that's something that I pitch to everybody that I talk to. I'm just like everybody else. But I also know how I feel, how I want to feel, and how I desire to feel. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why I stay on track, because I don't want to go back to what I used to feel. The way that I used to feel was unhealthy. I was groggy, angry, tired, grouchy, overweight. You know, if you go to my website and pull up Dad's story, you'll actually see what I used to look like. And 10 years ago, I looked 10 years older than I am now.
It's amazing. Two things. It's amazing that the Healing Humanity documentary, there's somebody in it who has been a carnivore for 65 years. She is 83 years old. And some of my viewers that are in the comments, they may know who I'm talking about. Her name is Maggie. And she is a rancher up in Canada. And
I know who you're talking about.
And she looks like she's in her 50s.
Yeah, she looks amazing. She's the picture of her with her pigtails, her braids.
Oh yeah, and Gina, her hair is naturally blonde. Yeah, and she doesn't dye it. She did, but people were like, "Oh my gosh, she's like, do you dye your hair?" No.
No.
Like it just hasn't turned gray yet. It's like I don't know. She's a poster child for carnivore.
Yep.
Number two, I think we're in the same bodybuilding group.
It's possible.
And Rob Goodwin's group.
Rob is amazing. He's one of the
Yeah.
most inspirational people that I follow.
Yeah.
He's what, 50? He's in his 50s. And I mean, his physique speaks for itself. His
Oh yeah.
accomplishments are amazing. And he's a no bones kind of guy. He just tells you exactly the way it is. And he's right.
He does.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. So I don't know. Did you happen to be able to see anything in that group the day after Thanksgiving?
I'm sure I did, but I read tons.
Well, it was all like, oh my gosh, I feel so horrible because I ate all the things. And I'm like, it was just like one right after the other. Is like, who else feels like crap? And it'd be like 150 comments. It's like,
yep.
That's why you don't go off of it. That's why I don't want it. Yeah.
Nope, I don't want it. I don't want to go back to what I was. I'm proud to lead by example. I've had people that come in and say, "Look, I'm thrilled that you're actually in shape because it inspires me because I can see what can happen." I mean, I think I could always be in better shape, but I think I take pretty darn good care of myself. But if people understood that it's 85% what you feed yourself. It really is, and then the other 15% is integral, of course, but 85% of what you eat determines how you feel, how you sleep, how your moods are. It's unbelievable. And just small changes, get away from the breads, get away from the rolls, get away from the potatoes. They're not that important. And once you get rid of them, you don't want them anymore.
1% better every day is what we try to tell people, because I'm a certified primal health coach. And so one of the things that they teach us is 80-20. Be good 80% of the time. Like 80% of the time, if you're doing on plan, you're doing better than most of America.
Absolutely.
And little baby steps. Like not everybody can go straight to carnivore. I went keto first, and I was dirty keto. The bad D word, dirty keto, and progressed through to clean keto, then sort of to ketovore, went carnivore, and now I throw in veg every now and then. I do have spices. Sue me. I like spices. But it's like, I don't know. It just is so much better to not cheat. You feel better. And cheating is supposed to make you get ahead.
There's nothing positive about the word cheating. And people say, well, when can I cheat? I say, ask your spouse.
Ouch. That's a good one.
Except you're not hurting your spouse, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
You're hurting yourself. You are not hurting anybody else by cheating, but yourself. And I don't know one person that's ever come to me and said, I am so happy I cheated. Not one person. Everybody comes and says, I did it. I thought I'd be fine, but I regretted it. I was so hungry afterwards. I woke up the next day with a headache. I was groggy. Yeah. I didn't sleep good. There's nothing positive about the word cheat. There just isn't. Now, getting into keto and getting into carnivore diets, I don't think you should, I say, jump the cliff. I think you should ease into anything. Start eliminating things. Ease yourself into any of these things, and you're setting yourself up for more success by doing that, by taking your time and taking one thing off your plate at a time. Quickly enough, you'll catch up and you'll get into ketosis. Quickly enough, you get into the fat burning mode, which is, again, ketosis is extremely easy to get yourself into. It takes 18 to 24 hours on average. Yeah. But you want to get into fat burning mode, which takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. And if you start the process all over again. So again, I'm an ingredients. I'm a strict keto guy. People can ask me all the questions in the world. I will always answer with a strict keto answer. What you do with that information is completely up to you. But when you look at people that have been doing keto for a decent amount of time, their skin glows, they look good, their skin's taut, they've dropped weight, they're off meds. Those are all positives. Why would you cheat? Exactly. Like Ellen just said, it's much better than the temporary pleasure for taste buds. And it is
Yeah.
temporary. It's all temporary. You've got to get away from that initial pull that the addiction has.
Hmm.
Get away from that.
I will say I tried a new recipe. I was like, I don't know if this is going to work out, but you know who Kim Howerton is?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so she
Mhm.
put out a recipe for marshmallows,
Okay.
and it's with allulose. And I was
Yep.
like, how's this going to work? And is this going to work? They turned out beautifully. And my son he's very texture, very taste. Like he's got, oh my gosh, he's got one of those eating disorders, like that has to do with texture. Like he'll gag and vomit
Sure.
and things like that. So I've got him to try one. He goes, "Oh my gosh, it's just a marshmallow." I was
Yeah.
like, "It's just a marshmallow." So those are dangerous. We will have them during the Christmas season, and then
Hmm.
no, but it's literally allulose, water, and gelatin, people,
Yep.
and some
No,
and some
we've
and
made
some
our own.
vanilla.
Yeah, we've made our own as well. And you make them in a big pan and just cut them all up. Yeah, we've done.
Yeah, they're sticky.
Yeah.
How
Oh,
do you deal with
absolutely.
the stickiness?
We
What
wear
are you
gloves.
doing for the stickiness?
Well, we wear gloves anyway, so there's only so much you can do.
Ah,
Sometimes
I'm
if you
just
put a little bit of powdered sweetener, a little bit of powdered sweetener
okay.
helps you get rid of the stickiness.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. I think maybe a little bit of oil too might like to keep them if you wanted to cut them and separate them.
Mhm.
If not, we're
Yep.
just going to be cutting chunks off at a time because it
Peeling,
just yeah.
peeling the marshmallows and enjoying it that
You
way.
peel them apart. No, but I was like, if I make chocolate, I could almost make a s'more.
Yeah, absolutely, you could.
So now I just need a graham cracker recipe that's worth its weight.
I'm sure you could find
So
some sort of natural flavoring for graham crackers. You could do something like that.
maybe we'll see. We'll
Yep.
see. I'll look for it.
Yep.
But yeah, so any advice? Let's move on to my one of my next to last questions. So, any advice to somebody who wants to start a keto or carnivore business like yours, whether it's a food truck
Mhm.
or whether it's a delivery service or a food prep service? What's your advice to them?
Good question. First of all, lead and live by example. You've got to be in this industry. You've got to be living it. You got to be experiencing it. People are going to turn to you on a regular basis for your advice because they need the guidance. They need your advice. They need to have their hands held a little bit, which everybody does.
Mhm.
But if you're not living this lifestyle, they're going to catch on to that. So first of all, make sure that you fully believe it and you live it. Second of all, be able to scale recipes. If you can take a recipe from 4 and scale it to 100, be prepared. That's what you're going to be doing. It's not as difficult as you think. Um, we do it all the time. But make sure that you understand simple math, I guess. But there is an absolute need for this. We've been approached so many times. If we had investors, come talk to me, believe me. If there's an investor out there, I'm available. There is an absolute need
Yeah.
to open what I do. I'm nothing special in my opinion. I just found a niche. It's something that I'm passionate about and I believe
Mhm.
in. But if you can duplicate what we do in your marketplace, absolutely do it. There's a huge need and it's only helping people. There aren't a lot of businesses out there that are helping people like this.
Yeah.
And people need services like this. They need fresh foods. Their schedules don't allow for shopping and cooking and cleaning. They just don't
Mhm.
allow for it. But if they've got the convenience of a prepped meal sitting there and they know when they get home, they can just take 2 minutes and reheat a meal and it's perfectly prepped and portioned, protein first, fat second, do it. There's an absolute huge need. Make sure you find an appropriate sized kitchen to work in.
Mhm.
When most restaurants produce meals, they produce one at a time so they can work in galley type kitchens. We can't do that. We've got 1,000 square foot kitchen for a reason, and it's a square for a reason because I've got 4 72-inch tables and 360-inch tables because at any given time, we're laying out 100 plates and plating 100 different meals. So be prepared for growth. Be prepared to know that you're going to need the space. You're going to need you're going to need to have the space availability. So make sure that you're prepared. It might start small, but as you grow, and you will grow, as you grow, make sure you've got the space to accommodate.
I will say a good place that anybody would love to do one of these, if you're around a military base, you will get soldiers, especially on a food truck.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Not only that, but the Navy SEALs prescribed to a ketogenic diet.
They do, and I do know that the chow halls for Ranger battalions show the macros, so you can actually mix and match. So you're like, oh, I want to eat ketogenic, and
Excellent.
you can do that because you can see the macros.
And that's to know the military is doing that. I'm a huge supporter of the military. Strongly appreciate every single day that they put in. My dad was a Marine, so I have a strong appreciation for anybody who's in the Army, Marine, any of the branches really. But to know that they're prescribing this type of diet, this type of lifestyle, what does that say? They're athletic specimens for the most part. If
they
they're
are
prescribing to this, and there's even product out there, an exogenous ketone product called Ketone IQ, which we carry in the store.
Yep.
They've got an exclusive contract with the Navy SEALs as well. So if
I did not know that.
Yeah. Ketone IQ is one of the best products on the market. We also carry a product called Kinetic, which is, I believe, there we go. What is it? It's the only bioavailable ketone.
There is another one on the market. There is another bioavailable on the market.
Yes, but it doesn't taste like this one.
No. No, it does not.
I'm not throwing anybody under the bus.
No, it's very different. It is very different. We use it for our daughter. Shout out to, we were talking about Original Ketone. They are on the market. It is also another bioidentical. It is a concentrate though.
Yes.
You have to dilute it. And so we have been using it for our daughter for anxiety.
Excellent.
And they have been so gracious to help with that. And and it is working. It is working very well for her, having those extra ketones, because she is on a ketogenic diet, but she needs a little bit of extra healing because of her OCD and anxiety. And I can tell when she has it and when she doesn't. Now she has used Ketone IQ and similar results, but not quite there compared to the bioidentical. The only reason she doesn't do these ones is because she doesn't like the flavors. She can't stand fruity smells because she's autistic. The fruit smells, she's like, ugh. And I'm like, okay. Right, so if theirs came in a non-flavored concentrate,
actually,
I'd be doing it.
Kinetic does have a concentrate.
Yes, but I still think I think it's still fruit. I think it's still fruity.
I believe they're the same flavors. Yeah. I'll tell you, since I started drinking Kinetic, I used to have, just out of habit, an energy drink around 2:00 in the afternoon. There's long hours in the kitchen, as you can imagine. But I used to have either an energy drink or a coffee mid-afternoon just to give me the psychological bump, if anything else. But it gave me the bump. Since I started drinking Kinetic every single morning, and I do drink it every morning, I no longer have that in the afternoon. I don't find myself hungry at all. I'm perfectly fine all the way until I generally eat once a day anyway. But I can last without snacks or without anything in between. I'm perfectly fine. It's one of the best products I've ever run into.
So I have a question for you, and this is, I didn't know we'd go here. So I'm actually going to have Siobhan Huggins on my channel on December 19th. That's a plug for that. And so we're going to be talking about ketones and research and things that she's doing with research and stuff that is coming out. And I've asked her because me and her are kind of friends, and I'm like, have you noticed people gaining weight on ketones? And because that's a big deal in some ketogenic circles, that supplementing with exogenous ketones will make you gain fat because you're not burning your own fat because you're giving it exogenous ketones. Have you seen that with anybody that you know? No. I haven't seen it. No. So that's why I'm asking.
Well, I don't understand. I don't understand the rationale, because ketones are going to burn fat. So no matter where you're bringing the ketones in, they're going after fat, whether it's exogenous or not. So they're still going to attach to free fatty acids no matter how you look at it. So how does that prevent you from burning fat when you're giving your body extra ketones? I'm just going on logic right now and what I understand. But how, and I could be completely wrong, and I'll admit it if I am, but how does that prevent you from burning fat when you're adding more ketones to your bloodstream? I don't understand that.
Well, I don't understand it either. And but it's like, I think their logic is that if your body has all the ketones it needs, then it's not going to break down your fat to make ketones.
Well, your liver produces ketones. So fat doesn't make ketones. Ketones go after fat. So ketones, if you don't give your body ketones, it's producing the ketones on its own. Ketones have a job, and the jobs are to go after the free fatty acids, and turn them into energy. I don't understand that. I haven't heard that.
Okay. I'm just wondering, because I'd heard that and I was like, well, does that mean that we shouldn't do it? But some people need therapeutic ketones and they can't fast. Like I have thyroid issues. I can't do extended fasting, and I have autoimmune. So I try to bump up my ketones to try to get more towards that 2 level. If not, then I'm going to stay, 0.81 maybe. So I was like, well, will I gain fat then? But
it sounds like they have it backwards. It sounds like they're chasing ketones with fat. Ketones chase fat. Fat doesn't chase ketones. Fats are released for ketones. So to me, that seems to have it backwards. So I don't know if I myself completely agree with that at all.
Okay. Somebody asked, do these drinks replace your minerals?
No. There are no real minerals in there. There's
a little bit of a tiny bit of potassium and magnesium.
Yeah, a little bit of electrolytes in there. A little bit of electrolytes.
Tiny.
Yep, but not enough to really speak of. But no, I'm a strong proponent of Redmond's. I work directly with the company. So we offer Relight in the store. We offer Redmond's salt. We offer all of those kind of things. And Redmond's, in fact, since Cindy just brought up Redmond's, Redmond's is the only salt I'll allow in my kitchen. It's the only one. We go through 10-pound bags like you wouldn't believe. But no, you should always supplement a ketogenic diet with electrolytes. And the big part of electrolytes, of course, is proper sodium. It's quality sodium. So no, that doesn't replace minerals, and you should always supplement it with minerals. Now, that being said, we also carry the brand Keto Chow, the electrolyte drops.
The salt. Do you carry the salty?
Not yet, because I'm waiting for them to come out with an actual display. Otherwise, I'm just laying them on a counter. Element actually has a display that they produce. So I'm hoping that Keto Chow does that soon. Love the people at Keto Chow. I love everything.
They're so nice. I got to meet some of them at Keto Palooza, and they were just
Chris and Miriam are awesome people.
They're so sweet. I am super excited. I don't know if people saw that Keto Chow released new flavors of salty. I am super excited. It is on the way. And Siobhan Huggins messaged me, was like, look what came. And she got the grapefruit and the cherry chill. And those are coming, and the lemon lime is coming for me too. I'm excited about those. It says they'll be out for delivery soon.
And I'll tell you that even 7 or 8 years into my journey right now, we still put 10 drops of Keto Chow in every single thing we drink, except for carbonated drinks, because it becomes a science experiment. So you don't put it in club soda or whatever else.
Yeah.
But it is a huge, component of a proper ketogenic diet to supplement, because especially in the beginning, when you're expelling all the excess water, your kidneys are also expelling sodium and potassium. Without that, you get the keto flu, you get the grogginess, the tiredness, the crankiness. You don't sleep well. You can easily avoid the keto flu. Nobody has to go through that with proper electrolyte consumption. Proper electrolytes, and you're perfectly
Exactly. And I know that there's a lot of people in the carnivore community that feel like you don't need to, but I can tell if I do not have, before I switched to salty from Element, I was doing 2 Element a day.
Yep.
And I've gone down to doing only 1 salty, and I can feel it. I can feel it. And so I've been salting my food more. So, but it's
Yeah.
interesting. So sometimes I'll get up in the morning and I'll take a pack of salty and put it in this much water
And
and do,
just try.
and just shoot it back.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how much better you feel within minutes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we actually believe that anytime you're craving sweets, just put some salt under your tongue too. And again, Redmond's real soft all day long.
Redmond's, I do believe Dr. Barry promotes having the little salt licks around.
And Dr. Berry's on the little bottle of the electrolytes, as a matter of fact.
The minerals, the Keto Chow minerals. Yep. Because he's helped develop it, because Correct. He was like, we need one that isn't full of crap. That's exactly. Not what he says in the community, but no. It's not full of crap. So exactly. If people don't know what community I'm talking about, I am a PhD essential coach for Dr. Ken Berry. So you can go to drberry.com/community and you can join up there, and you can come join me in the community and say hi. So, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And there's one other thing other than Dad's Keto Kitchen. Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Anybody can message me through our Facebook page. Anybody can message us through our website. Please reach out to me. I absolutely love hearing from people. I live to hear from people. I really do. No question is silly. No question is unimportant. And I do my very best, as I joked earlier, how quickly I am on the phone. I do my very best to get back to you as quickly as possible, because I know your time is valuable as well. So reach out through our Facebook page, which is just Facebook/Dad's Keto Kitchen. You can reach out through Instagram, which again is the same thing, just /Dad's Keto Kitchen. Find us, like us. We are a locally based company right now. But eventually, of course, we'll branch out.
Hopefully.
Yep.
There's big goals. There's big goals in the works there. And I think it would be great if eventually there was a franchise. So we need investors. So If anybody wants to go, if you're an investor out there looking to get into a lucrative business, Dad's Keto Kitchen needs franchisement.
I'll tell you, we're profitable and debt-free. So if that doesn't attract an investor, I don't know what will.
Profitable and debt-free. Yep. I have never heard that about a business.
And we're still new for a business. We've only been in business for 5.5 years. So as far as businesses go, we're still infants. So there's a lot of growth to be had. There's a lot of growth in this area. We're the only ones that truly do what we do in the Northeast overall. I don't know many businesses like ours in the entire country.
I haven't heard of any. You're it.
They're bakeries. There are bakeries. But what are you doing when you're not eating a cookie? I mean, you've got to have, you need to have the full lifestyle. You need to be prepared. And one thing that I really work hard with my clients and my customers is making sure that you are prepared for the week. If you're not prepared for the week, you're going to swing into a drive-through. You're going to get takeout. You're going to go into what I call panic mode. What am I going to eat tonight? I don't know. Takeout. Be prepared. If you can't find, a couple of hours on a Sunday, find a quality company that might be able to produce the stuff that you need. It's super important to be prepared, but it's also important. This is something I like to bring up as well. Getting everybody on board to what your goals are. This is one struggle that I see a lot of people in keto face. Usually it's women with the guys that aren't on board. Guys are creatures of habit, of course, or it's the family. I have trouble because I'm trying to eat this way, but then I have to make an entire meal for everybody else.
Yep.
And then you've got friends, family. Well, why can't you just have this the one time? Because I don't eat that. There's your answer. I'm sorry, but I don't eat that. Well, why not? Because I don't. You don't owe anybody an explanation.
I love that.
This is your life. This is your health, your goals. If other people want to eat unhealthy, if other people are okay with taking meds and being a pharmaceutical guinea pig, that's perfectly fine. But if your goal is to be healthy, make sure that goal is known. Make sure that the people around you are prepared to support you. They may be eating other food, but make sure that they are okay with the fact that, okay, I want mom or I want dad or I want my brother or sister to be healthy. So I'm not going to push this on them. So good support system and being planned out for the week are extremely important keys to this.
I love that. And that is a great place to go ahead and end this hour because we're just a little bit over. So we're going to step off the stage, and Christian, stick around at the end, for after we go off live. But I've got a special message for everybody, and I would love for everybody to see this from my good friend, Carrie Mann. So see y'all later, everybody.
Rebekah, thank you for today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are currently watching one of my favorite YouTube channels. So great job. But if you need just a little bit more inspiration on your healing journey, we have a new membership site that I'm excited to share with the world. It is at healinghumanity.life. There is a link with a special promo code offer in the description below. At our membership site, you can be inspired to find a path to healing. We have courses that you can take at your own pace. We have an amazing community. We do multiple Zoom calls per week. We even bring in the good doctors, experts for your Q&As. Most of all, we have an amazing community that's here to support you, keep you motivated, and keep you inspired. Learn more at the link in the description below, healinghumanity.life.